heavily
Game 1!
The first place on the West only has 66 points compared to Valdez's 105. So the might of Valdez is rippling the whole of the world across this PMWI event. But we're into the first game. This playing path is quite painful. I'm not going to try and look at it at this.
Samahan nyo ako manood, guys. Like and share sa stream. Like and share.
Playing path.
Partida na. Oh, partida na. Binabagi tayo. Binabagi tayo. Naglalag ka mga Blacklist.
But I like seeing teams under pressure a little bit, see how they can try and make these playing path work in their favor. Of course, some teams are going to go for secondary drop locations. Na'Vi should have just enough breathing space to actually stretch that drop over to George Pole. If not, they can go into the Southern George or Hospital area.
Baldus Guns Fury na ba?
Northern rotate instantly. That should work out just
fine. Hindi mo. Blacklist tayo, tol. Blacklistan tayo.
Novo. And actually, Fnatic Zombies, right?
Ay, minimension nyo na naman si Maps, ha?
They need a big change.
Nakikilig na naman kayo sa amin ni Maps, ha? Baka maging Maps clear na naman kami.
Still remaining for this World Invitational, so that's one of the few teams I'm looking at as to
improve
drastically with such a small
akit ng Rosok. Ay, parang iba. Iba dropping point ng Baldus ngayon, no? Tignan nga natin kung magro-Rosok pa rin sila.
And look, the only way is up, I feel, for them.
Magkakaroon ng adjustment ngayong game to dito. Ngayon dito magkakaroon ng adjustment.
Every opportunity for them.
Mag-adjust yung ibang team dyan. Siyempre, napag-aralan nila yung dropping point ng iba sa route, eh.
Suppose the question they're gonna have to answer. This phase 1
circle is
pretty solid. Of course, it means that the northern side of this phase 1 is a lot more accessible on your rotation. So BTR dropping down by farm, they can maybe shift around.
BTR farm pa rin, no?
Kind of edge of Roshawk area, same with DS Gaming. The rotation for I think is going to be a little bit trickier. They might want to leave it a little bit later to rotate across the
King of the North, Blacklist International. King of the North.
Obviously, you're going to have a noticeably more amount of teams closer to both of those bridges for them. So time will tell. And Na'Vi opting to spend a little bit more time to drop by the west, grab vehicles, and rotate up to North Georgeville, I think is quite intelligent because it already puts them in a pretty good position. Phase 1 circle.
Kapon, 1 point per game. Buti nakabawi ng game 5.
To really make that whole rotate ordeal happen between.
Babawi yan, guys. Si Ramirakel. Babawi ngayon yan.
They should be fine for the time being. Then we are seeing also a team like Myth, for example. They are in Primorskan. Unlike yesterday where you had like
malabo po talaga. Hindi, malinaw tayo sa kay Luis.
It's very out of the ordinary. This time they're chilling. They're alone.
No one's gonna bother them. Naglag pa si Claire. Oh, kita mo, naglag pa pala si Claire. Wala, binabagi talaga tayo. Hilugi tayo talaga. Nung game 1, okay connection natin. Nung game 2 hanggang game 5, binabagi na tayo kahapon, eh. Binabagi na tayo kaya tayo nadali.
If you want to go heavily up north, which I think is fine because not many teams really go that high up. You've got 3 which are DRS in Yasnaya, Na'Vi in George Pole, Northern George Pole to be specific, and also Severny/shooting range.
Boss Maro, ready ka na ba manampal? Ready na!
If you want to go towards shift around the northern side of Yasnaya.
High blood na ako sa mga Baldus na yan, eh. Masyadong malalakas, eh.
I think that would be a very viable strat for some.
Titignan ng BTR yung mga Baldus na yun.
Too much of a commitment though, and is that taking too long to rotate? Are you
depends when you do it.
Chunking there? That's a really good point. I didn't really think of that, but that's something that no, because I always try and think of the middle ground, but sometimes a little bit deeper that you brought up. I think it is a valuable thought process that a few of those teams could pull out. It's going to be interesting to see.
Wala pa. Kompleto lang. 64 players.
Correlated.
Wala papatalo.
Now, I know the desk brought up kind of how crazy good of a day it was for Valdez and whether or not they can repeat it. And I think Blank brought up a good point of they won't really have the same kind of day in terms of 5 extremely good games, but kind of hang around that top 5 is more than possible. When I look back at some of yesterday's games,
Pasalamat tayo sa bagay, nabuo ang Maps Fury. Wala pa si Maps, ipasok pa yun. Mamaya pa yun natin.
It's like teams weren't, I'm not gonna say weren't taking them seriously, but weren't really
tatampalin na natin yung mga yan talaga.
Itikon na tayo dyan, eh. They were close to some teams and teams didn't really look to shut them down. They were given way too much room to breathe. Today, teams will have looked back on the VOD, they would have done their review with the coaches, however, and I feel like Valdez are gonna get a little bit more heavy.
Hindi sila magagalaw. Tangina, sasakyan talaga kinokolekta ng mga yan eh. Yung mga CE na yan. Kolektor talaga ng mga sasakyan yan. Di bali na walang baril basta may sasakyan. Ganun talaga yan. Ganun talaga mga pro ngayon.
I have a feeling that if they get close to Valdez and they're pretty certain it is them, they might start to be a bit more aggressive because you cannot give Valdez the same room that they were given yesterday.
I guess what we're trying to say is also we're going to wait and see if teams have maybe done some VOD review and adapt a little bit to how Valdez would play and maybe try and play to their strength and also find the weaknesses of Valdez and how they play and capitalize on that. I agree. I think that could be something that some teams are going to try and make happen today and hopefully achieve and make happen.
Ay, goods yung connection ko guys. Malabo boss Mario. Hindi, goods ako. Okay, connection ko.
We want a little bit more competition at the top, so we're hoping to see
malinaw naman sa amin.
rise up to the occasion.
Check niyo yung ano niya, resolution yung pinapanood niya.
The occasion in really big ways that we were not really expecting. I think they even talked about it on the desk a little bit yesterday and even today.
Connection ko, goods.
Xavier coming out really out
of nowhere. Ng bundok. Tika mo. Jamas, wala pang pangil. Pumuposition na. Di ba na walang first aid? Basta maon na lang sa position.
A really big margin on the fifth place was currently held down by Zeus with 38.
Yun ang importante ngayon. Aanin mo yung mga pangil mo sa mga gamit mo kung nasa labas ka naman ng zone. Nape-pressure ka. Di ba? Di ba alin ang... Ayan, Blacklist!
Some degree yesterday.
Halika nyo!
The big surprise and the big underdog of the entirety of this World Invitational for the East.
Yeah, they had 3 fantastic results in a row. They started and ended. They bookmarked the day on a 3-pointer and a 1-pointer, but that second, third, and fourth was 11.
Robbie Styro. Ay, puta, nag-flex ng...
So 110%.
Ang ganda ng tunog.
Xavier have impressed us a lot.
Bakit may mga ganun sila? Tayo wala.
Looking at this game, the rotation.
Lahat yata na nag-stream ng PUBG Mobile. Tagal-tagal ko nag-stream ng PUBG Mobile. Ako yata pinaka-puro na streamer.
Pretty good looking.
Kailan kaya ako magkakaroon ng ganung skin? Sino kaya makakapag-sponsor sa akin ng ganun? Nakasawain ko talaga. You know?
I8 did go for a little bit of an earlier rotation than I expected.
Okay na lads, yeah.
On military.
Enjoy lads pa na lads mga lads. Oy, habang nanonood tayo, share na rin natin yung stream. Share natin, make sure na naka-public. Hashtag nyo, Blacklist own the circle. Lagay nyo sa hashtag, Blacklist own the circle. Support natin yung Blacklist.
They've always got to know that they're going in blind when they're going so from such a high far location as military base.
Ayun na.
Starting to make a bit of noises. Refuse sending Yala up on top of Everest. So I at least like the calculated aggression from IA.
Ay, saan kayo yan eh? Saan kayo yan eh?
Start making some noise.
Sunto ka na. Hindi, wala pa na sa tampalan na muna ngayon. Tampalan.
His name is inspired from the French word revers, which means dreamer.
Oh!
Libre yun ni Tencent. Sana nililibre lahat ni Tencent?
So I'm thinking maybe, and that would be a cool prospect if
sana
that's the idea.
nililibre tayo ni Tencent din. Paano?
So I'm looking at the map and another rotation. You said a few are currently coming on through. One already strikes me
as
being
yan
very strong. And
kaya nga, yung test lang walang ano. Hindi masyado rinig.
Gatka field spread.
Maganda yung test lang yun.
Once they're done with the looting stage, which typically the big mistake that we see teams do in Gatka fields is
they start
to rotate and then they take a 4v1 and one of your players does too far and you lose a player and then you're down to 3 and it makes it really hard for you to find closure to a game.
Nga pala guys, na-invite tayo na PUBG Mobile na mag-restream ng kanilang...
Do not have an issue with that because they regroup maybe I would say 3 minutes into the game, 4 minutes in, they get a strong position and they play extremely well and they're doing it once again.
Apat yata kami in-invite eh, alam ko si Bigor, si Sen, saka si Sang.
And they're trying to do that once again this time around. So Geek Fam, once again, I said I'm a big fan of their rotates from yesterday.
Yung bal, pumunta pa rin sila sa Losok.
A hidden gem in this tournament.
Sa PUBG Mobile PH scene, wala masyado nagro-rosa.
I really also like the Xavier's 2-2 split between the church and the compound just across the road from that church area outside of Pichinki. Most teams are pretty well solidified inside this phase 2, but because maybe teams were looking more towards the northern half of phase 1, has created a noticeable space on the southern side of this phase 2 for the likes of Myths, for Fnatic Zombies, who are yet to actually go across from Military Island, and even DS, who are also taking their time to rotate. So interesting who will adapt and maybe shift a little bit closer to the southern half of this phase 2.
Nothing really out of the ordinary. We are kind of expecting to see these
wala yellow. Saka naman nakakita ng ganun.
NASA also like to play a little bit more to the edge.
Di bali nang mawalan ng pearl, wag lang mawalan ng yellow.
Yesterday, I think that they're maybe trying to take things back a little bit and slow things down.
Ay na, RC sa Aziz.
They tend to have a little bit of a hard time when they do take them as Godless.
Boss Arbor na t-shirt ko.
Ay! Actually, to be exact. So,
okay, let's see. Jersey ko to eh.
And talking about Zeus, right, a little bit of I think a lot of people expected big things from them, and yesterday was a little bit of a downfall position, but it's only one day. You know, we can see the team do great. They're not known as the most consistent team, and when they do perform well on the day, they get an insane amount of points coming their way, and I'm hoping to see that coming on through, because they started off roughly that one good game.
Underrated kasi mga sniper eh. Ako lang ba nakakapansin? Underrated mga sniper ng PUBG Mobile.
And they can just ease into the game and
hope some good old gameplay. DS, BTR!
They're going to be seeing some gameplay coming up from BTR. They're going to be good for the engage on South 3.
Ryzen bagsak din. Ay, sara lang na iwan. Pinasok na. Ayun, pangkinis squad wipe ko agad sa BTR.
And that's going to be done. DS Gaming
nasa mountain sila ng Puchinki.
Over to BTR, which is one of the best positions.
Nako, eto na. Ito na kasi sinasabi ko, babawi daw sila ng data talaga. Babawi daw sila ng data.
DS Gaming fall victim to BTR, and I would genuinely
kasi. Ay, follow nyo pala si Sakuragi TV. Comment mo yung ano mo, Sakuragi. Ipapapalo natin.
Late. Right, so when you come into this,
team captain ng Fearless Rebels Kingsman.
Absolutely no reason why
they
didn't,
wala yellow.
Why they couldn't have stopped on that hill across the road from BTR, gotten a little bit of information, and then maybe look to get a knock on the BTR before pushing forward.
Sana magkasal po ulit yung Baldo sa BTR, no?
Just full sent it, thinking it was going to be free, and BTR were there waiting in the wings to capitalize quite accordingly. I did also hear quite a good M249 shots being fired by, I think, multiple players from BTR, starting to see that going to be
Gaming. Thank you for tuning in.
Out of the crate, and the UN
Ano, may delay ba sa'yo? Wala po. Hindi ako naglagay ng delay.
But the M249 also starting to be highly favored by players.
Wala pa, hindi pa nakakaalaman lang si first game pa lang eh.
Weapon, I would very clearly say, especially if you are going to be outnumbered, which happen quite a lot, where you have to take a 1v2, or you do like Martin, you take a 1v3. M249 is the weapon to have for yourself. We'll see how things are going to work out. And actually, we're talking about new weapons and everything. One piece of utility that's rarely used, and I think is very interesting to talk about yesterday.
Blacklist, parang nag-aalanganin pumasok agad, no? Diba sa PH, bumigit na agad dyan. Ngayon, medyo nakikiramdam si Alas. Nakikiramdam si Alas, yung tatlo nasa likod lang.
They actually buffed the range at the AoE of the flashbang.
Ayan na! At inagot ko! Alayo sa Blacklist! Crowded sa East!
This circle, especially for the likes of Zeus. There's slapdag middle.
Dami makakalaban ng Zeus dyan.
Down southwest of where they currently are. But I think that Reject is already on the move to snatch that position for themselves.
Navi on the radio tower square that they had a pretty good start to in one of the Durango games yesterday. I think it was the final game, if I'm not mistaken.
Kanino kayo first game? Kanino kayo? Mainit ang BTR ka yan. Kanino ko mainit na BTR? Alat kahapon yan eh. Parang kukunin ng BTR itong first game ah.
For great reaction on this.
Bagay, second circle pa lang yan, di ba?
Curious to know how Blacklist are going to deal with this kind of shift far down south as Ida gets knocked down at the hands of Zio.
In front of Yala, unfortunately, Ida was sent out there as a more of a scout player. Tiggsy actually going to be able to find himself a knock with his DP28, trusty weapon to play with. I see, hoping to maybe get some utility towards Yol. There you go, that's the smoke coming out. He's going to get into the car, into the Lamborghini, and well, not Lamborghini, sorry, the McLaren. Still hoping to get one, but unfortunately I can't get any more, so my luck has run dry. Hopefully getting it there in time.
Arcadel Gaming, but Mar sharp na lang ako, hindi tayo makapag-TikTok.
Behind that rock, so that's going to be fun, and there's no way.
Hindi ako punta ng bootcamp. Wala yan, makikita pa tayo tayo.
So that should happen pretty easily, and the rest of Zeus is going to be joining us on the party. We're slowly but surely seeing teams get close.
Shout kay Hana, you're ready. Sige lang po. Like, i-turn na rin natin stream. First game to first game.
Oh my
hanggang 5 game to.
Lord. A lot of shots being fired by Navi, but what is this spread? Meku gets knocked, Kitsune is way further apart. They were on a great hill and they give that up to try to go for a fight. They lose 2 players. Incredibly poor decision making from Navi. I get that you want to be aggressive, but be aggressive.
Martin, knockdown, no? Knockdown, ay, Alas tumabog.
Go to the fight when you don't have to.
Dapat sabog si Alas.
Say credit to Yala, because one of Yala's
knockdown na si Martin.
Got down. They didn't instantly go for the revive. They actually waited. Now that they've got it, they're now able to drive away. Plus Valdez
went down
to the hill, and Yala, they're two
Thank you,
players
Candy
that were
Bear.
holding onto the compound. Got a kill onto one of the Valdez players, so really great. Actually, two of the Valdez players. Teamwork across the board from Yala to hold onto their position and get the revive. That's big pog.
Naantay ko yung moment na walang awat eh. Wala pa sila eh, wala pa eh. Maya-maya ng konti.
So they used it. Not only that, they're also very aware of the
first game to warm up pa lang yan ng mga players eh. Mga teams.
They saw that there was a third party happening in the kill feed. So like, okay, they can't go for the kill confirm onto Ida. And also because I think Ida just died so many times early game yesterday. They're like, okay, we'll try and keep you alive this time, man. I'll swear we'll give it a fair shot. Got him back up and came in. So they were very aware of the situation. Because of that, they were able to make the most out of it, pick up kills, and res up their teammate. That is what you love to see coming out from the Saudi Arabian team. Now, so time more. Where is it gonna go? And straight on down south. Huge full reject.
It
is so hard to breach. If they defend it properly, this might be a strong game. A top 3 going the way of Geek Fam.
Let's be fair. We've had 2 or 3 hardships in a row from these teams.
Horrible,
they haven't been kind. It has been incredibly horrible. Blame Max, man, everybody. If you don't like it, just blame Max and send him a message on Instagram. Go follow him at the same time.
No.
Anyway.
No, I like that, yeah.
IA have been a lot more passive than in yesterday's game, and I actually like that because I think they realized that they need to actually spend more time as a full squad in these games. Even if they're not playing
yung knockdown na rin. DRS nakakadali sa Blacklist. Wala eh. Argabyado Santol eh. Ay, Ians, patay na. Dalawa na.
Start off a bit of a fight against
Tyler na lang na yun.
Well, cook grenade by Lamborghini. Will that connect in the right way onto A1?
Wala, alat sa Son. Ang lahi na Son sa kanila eh.
For now.
We're hoping to
tama yung rotation nila,
Bangladesh team of A1.
So sila mapasok.
The best showing currently in 13th position with 16 points, 1 good game, and they just double that bare minimum. So A1 needs to live up to the expectations. I think a lot of people are supporting them in the chat right now. And hopefully they'll be able to help out the team on their morale. Nade coming out a little bit short, I believe, for Lamborghini. Will put himself back inside the building.
Meteor.
You got to be careful because there's another team right on the side.
Meteor. Maganda yan.
I8, so they are pinned down to Xavier, and they need to be able to be on their top tier game if they want to have just the slimmest chance of coming out on top as a 4-man, because that is not an easy fight they're going to take.
Also not going to be an easy fight for Myth, says BTL.
Tingnan natin kung aatrasan ng Myth to. Ikakat talagang pinasok na ng BTR.
To burn at what they can achieve, and they're looking to go aggressive on it. Zuxi sends himself up. He has that UMP.
Ito nagigil ng BTR tol. Alat kahapon eh. First game lang maganda laro nila eh.
It's going to have to stop him.
Atras ang Myth to.
Atras. Ito na. From BTR.
Yeah, gonna be able
si Claire, bagsak na rin! Tangina yung mga black... Ay, gago! Eh, sabagay! Grenade niya!
As he's gonna be instantly knocked down. BTR is gonna have to take this on a little bit slow because they have a little bit of a hard time really pinning down the location of all the players of Myth. I would have a hard time believing that...
Ay, nag-grenade yung sarili niya! Si Jose mo! Nakakalimutan iba to!
It could work out actually just fine, but BTR really took their feet off the pedal right
now.
now.
Akala niya, hindi pa niya natatanggal yung ano eh. Akala niya, hawak pa lang niya.
But the 4th player, Myth, what is he doing there? Either he joins in
patay na sa Blacklist.
or the whole team.
Tyra patay na rin. Zeus nakadali.
You don't have to. Don't go in between at all. Brody's still staying prone down. BTR, I love the point that you mentioned about them slowing down. I think that could go against him because that's allowing Myth to in some way reevaluate where they're heading now. Of course, BTR are looking in the direction of another fight, but they need to focus on Myth and Myth alone. There you go.
Yeah, Sux is going to go a little bit wider there. You got to be careful. Broly right behind there in the bush. He goes for the spray.
Puta kasi yan.
Knocked on down. BTR dropped the 2 players. Gets a double knock. That's going to be so well played
So
actually.
na lang naiwan.
Liquid
na lang. Binabaril pa sila sa likod. Ay, bumabaril pa sa kanila.
He took the knockdown onto Ryzen. Reflex is just nowhere to be seen currently and cannot get then time to go for the rest on his teammates. And unfortunately, this is going to be coming up to almost nothing. And the influence is going to have on this game is so little. But though the circle shifts once again, and this is horrible. There's only one team out of 11 inside that circle. And it is going to be the Japanese team of Reject. Boy, oh boy, they're looking good.
And I don't know exactly what happened to the Xavier in terms of who took them out. But
napatay daw ni Tyra yung dalawang baldos. Hindi ko alam. Hindi ko sure kung natuluyan eh. Hindi ko nakita eh.
Beautiful. A1 piece of bread and an IA piece of bread. Bangladesh and Pakistan ingredients. You can't go wrong.
Damage si Ryzen ng BTR number 1.
sandwich indeed. But now the fight between these two slices of bread is going to kick off. And let's be fair, A1 do have the advantage because they're much closer to the circle and they have those walls that they're able to play around.
Napasabog siguro yung mga vehicle nila.
Okay, now the push onto Reject's position. Teams know they're going to have to push on this spot eventually. This is a must-have spot. First one to do that is going to be Zeus. Not going to be going over aggressive just yet. They're trying to...
Sa mga nanonood, like and share natin stream guys, like and share po. Puso para sa Blacklist International. Pusuan natin lang ating stream.
Because as an eventuality, they might have to cross later on. These cars are going to be extremely important for them if they are aiming for the win, which hopefully they are. Back on over to this other fight, we did lose ourselves to Xavier earlier. Now there's only 2 teams remaining.
Concept nadali ba?
And also A1 Esports. Things are relatively slow.
Ano kasi pinakita screen natin eh. Nakapokus sa BTR yung clash eh.
I'm loving it. You've seen one player of I.
Nakapokus sa BTR, hindi pinakita sa Blacklist kung nangyari.
Just yet, but he's going far and wide. His Revers actually.
Kaya natin sa replay mamaya, papakita yan.
And also getting the off angle that A1 are completely unaware of. This is great. It sets you up for rotation and also to take that fight versus A1. That is so proactive for IA.
Ay! Umabot pa yung ball no!
Revive on the crypto, such a bad idea.
Tumamba pa yun. Nag-i-spray siya, napawas ng ball. May dumaan pa.
The fragger of the team, but it doesn't matter if you're down.
Ayan na, putang nilabas na.
Another player goes down and it's all going horribly wrong.
White on
They are gonna get taken to the ground all because they went for the revive on crypto.
That's the main issue we have. Literally what just happened with
BTR, tatlong player pa, 7 kills.
They gave themselves up
6 kills.
one by one. You're making the fight so easy for A1 to pick in the first place. So I8 hoping to think back on this game.
Kung ako spectator nito, kahit anong guns, kahit nagbabakbakan ng Baldos at saka BTR, kahit nagbabarilan nila malakas sa team yan, basta mapalabang Blacklist, lilipat talaga ako. Lilipat ako sa Blacklist. Lilipat ako sa Blacklist. Gusto ko pa rin. Wala akong pakailan sa mga yan. Basta ako Blacklist lang eh. Kino lang kamo, restream lang ang binigay sa atin. Kung pinayagan tayo mag-spectate dyan, puro Blacklist lang mapapanood natin. Tapos tatanggalin ko yung delay na live para stream type na. Ano, wala akong cover na maganda yung BTR. Bagay na lang ano nila dyan, cover nila. Abus ang RC.
Make it off that ridge.
And we have lost Reject. They went down.
Ina, pinuto ko na mga BTR.
For the sniper tower, but I thought that might go horribly wrong.
Pinuulan ng bahala.
Too many teams to get on top of the hill above it. Zeus, they're still in this game. We're left with Geek as well. Fnatic
down to 5 teams.
Zeus, FZ, A1 Geek, one away from the start day 2, Max.
Yeah, I just realized...
Wala ring highlights yung ball eh. Walang highlights yung ball ngayon.
Are we going to see the comeback from the last place team in 16th with 12 points currently? I mean, already so far, it seemed like they might have just doubled their points. They got 6 kills already and in top 5, so it seemed like that is indeed about to be the case. And Geek fan, they're going to pop into the kill feed, but not for the right reason, as they're going to start getting knocked on down. BTR still going to be trying to be as proactive as possible in the circle, despite the lack of man advantage. Liquid already creeped his way forward.
Pasok ang BTR zone lang. Magtatago na lang muna yan.
Oh man, gonna have to think of moving over to get over.
May kill points pa Blacklist. Ano yata? Dalawa.
Keeping the pressure down onto A1 from Bangladesh.
Wala, alat sa zone eh. Alat. First team, alat ka agad.
Unfortunately for A1,
ibang klase pa naman mga teams dito.
Because if Zeus weren't there, A1 would have way better control inside his circle. We're also seeing Geek Fam and Fnatic Zombies taking each other out. What does that do? That leaves BTR free to avoid all the action and play for the very late stages of the game.
A nice knock onto Damaru through the smoke. Really good pre-fire from him.
Parang di na papapasukin ng Team 11.
Hopefully can make it back to the buggy. I would even say for Zuxi, if he could pop the buggy, make it explode. Buggy, a new car. There you go, new car skin coming up in PUBG Mobile confirmed.
BTR sa likid knockdown sa sila lang.
That'll be huge. But yeah, how able to sneak behind. That one smoke in front of him dissipates.
First game to guys, first game. Hanggang 5 game to.
2 players minimum.
Okay lang yan. Warm up lang naman ng first game eh. Baliktad naman ng kahapon. Chicken dinner yung game 1. As inalat na lang mga sumunod na game. Ngayon, malas ng first game pero yung 4 na sunod na game. Tignan nyo. Sigurado yan. Tumawag na ako kay Alas. Sinabi ko na yung gagawin niya eh. Umusang gig ko. Nag-grenade ng mga FZ.
Mexico, what a nade indeed. But now the play for Fnatic Zombies is to keep teams away from the nade range from your shack.
Yung BTR, hindi na makamatay yun.
You will not be contested.
Kanina pa inuulan ng bala to mga to. Tanggalan ng bagyan, tanggalan na ng bagyan.
And this might just be the end for Fnatic Zombies.
BTR, they are being given so much, but they are not being targeted by Fnatic Zombies at all.
Just getting too close.
If
he gets in nade range, this is GG for Fnatic Zombies. They will not be able to fight back in any way, shape, or form. They'll just get bullied all over the place.
Isang bandera lang tayo guys pagka international, kahit magkakalaban na grupo tayo sa pitchin, pagka international isang ano lang tayo, isang bandera lang.
Never mind the fact that A1 have been able to
keep salamat pala sa pag-follow.
That's a full squad. How's that even been able to happen? I know Zeus were taking multiple fights at once, but I thought they were going to punish A1 a little bit more aggressively, but no confirmations, no kills. Leaves A1 in a pretty good spot.
Everywhere.
Tusun ba BL? Hindi naman sa Tusun pero pang 13 yata sila, pang 13.
If you can make it to that crate, actually that would be big.
Upload ba to sa YouTube? Yes, i-upload ko sa YouTube.
Yeah, the angles are just so wide, so hard.
Follow nyo pala YouTube guys, That's Fury Gaming. Salamat.
Start to have big control on the circle itself. The smokes are now going to be dissipating, making it a little bit easier to actually connect those shots in the first place. But Jaxi knows, now he sees down below, that's the entirety of Zeus. We need to make sure that this squad does not make it over to the ridge. If they do, that's going to make it even harder for them to move them out of that position in the first place.
Tangina, BTR pa to! BTR pa to! Naglalaban yung mga nasa taas eh! Ay, naglalaban yung mga nasa taas oh! Ay, nasa likod ako, may ikutan na yung BTR.
You can try to split that.
Make a choice eventually. A boot. No, you're spotted away by 6ix9ine with the M16, and that's
pumalag na yung BTR.
That BTR gets picked up. You said Imperium. There was no way. They were down below. They had no cover to play with except a buggy, and that can very easily be
out na BTR.
Coming out. Can he get a boot inside the shack? Does it get shut down? Actually, all the focus of A1 seems to be towards the likes of Zeus. They want to get rid of them, but towards the likes of Fnatic Zombies. So Fnatic Zombies, they're just waiting.
Nice one, Jax.
For team to get eliminated.
Oh, great play by Jax. He's single-handedly keeping the space away from the 3 other players of his team. He's been the sacrificial lamb, stopping Zeus from going forward while the other players from the team are focusing on zombies.
Prone, Salam, you got to be careful. You're prone in the open.
Iwan na isa sa likod na para hindi makapush yung mga Zeus.
Jax just leaves the position of Zeus. That's relieving a lot of pressure. He sees the circle moving up.
Oh, Jared kay Jared, staying sa 50.
He's just waiting for the opportune time to strike, and Fnatic Zombies also getting pushed away from that shack. There is no way out of this one. And I believe they already used a lot of their meds because they got so many times by A1 and Zeus, and now they got the spray gun trees. It is so hard for A1 to fight.
Ayun na yung flashbang tol, ito na yung flashbang.
They have no idea what's happening.
Ito na yung flashbang.
Slowly but surely,
close encounter na, flashbang na yan.
Salam and the boot still up and
4 seconds yata bulag ng flashbang eh.
From that kill, every single point counts. Salam also getting picked away. While Zeus are just waiting, they're seeing the kill be lined up. They're hoping to see a team go down so they can steal away second place. That is their game plan this time around, as Abood hasn't got spotted out just yet.
Tahimik lang yung mga Zeus.
Really slow.
None of the teams have secured a chicken dinner so far in the PMW.
Dalawang A1.
Whoever comes out on top, it will be their first win.
That'll be big for all these teams. I'm sure a lot of people in chat hoping to see Zeus get himself the dub.
Nakita pa yung
spray. What is all you need? Oh my god, almost got the counterplay and almost got the knock himself, but at the end that is going to be GG well played for Fnatic Zombies. Still a great performance compared to what we saw yesterday, but that is 11 kills total with Zeus, and they know,
BTR 16 points.
They know exactly where there's one player of Zeus, but he is not. That is not the current player you should be focusing on. You should be looking at Sinister.
Wala na, parang sus pa to.
They think he's all behind the tree.
Ay, naki-KS pa yun, naki-KS pa isa. Hindi namatay zone.
2v3. 2v3, you still Sinister and Dante. Yes, there is.
Where is he hidden?
Kukuha na information yung nakabahagi yun.
Okay, fair enough. 2v3 in Pyramid, as you said.
Nakita na.
1v3. Sinister, there he goes, a little bit farther and wider.
Wala na, sus na yan.
Gets overwhelmed, and that is gonna be GG as we do see ourselves A1
go out second and Zeus. Wala lang kami sa zone.
People were finally expecting that to happen. Getting themselves their very
Zeus Esports, game 1.
Over here in the world.
Wala zone blacklist.
Look, Blair said himself, right? He said that it takes
benta yung zone,
a
benta.
day or so for Zeus to really warm up. Day 2, they've come in swinging. Their control